Okay, hi everyone. Today we're going to be doing a revised movement guide. If you subscribe to my channel on YouTube already, then you know that this video is already out, but I kind of want to revise it. So I'm just going to do this live commentary the way I normally do it, and hopefully be a little bit more informative than I was last time with a more condensed video. So more information, less time. We're going to see how it works out. A couple of things to just think about before I start going into the fundamentals of movement in this game. I use the evolved control scheme. You can see on my controller cam that I'm pressing buttons for jumping and sliding that are not A and B. And this is a controller guide, so if you're a keyboard and mouse user, sorry, this video is not for you. You can still take some of the information, just execution is going to be different for a keyboard and mouse versus on controller. So I use the evolved control scheme. What it does, it switches my jump to LB, my tactical to A, my melee to B, and my crouch to right stick, which is super important to be able to move my camera and crouch at the same time and never have to take my thumbs off the two analog sticks. Pretty much never. Unless I want to use my tactical, then I'll swap it to press A really quickly, and I never melee, so it doesn't matter. Let's jump right into the first couple of movement techniques, and those are going to be slide hopping and air strafing. That's 2 of 3. We'll go over the third one here in a little bit. Slide hopping is just the basic thing that you need to get down to build your muscle memory and to maintain any momentum that you have gained. The way we do slide hopping is by jumping and then sliding in midair. We need forward momentum for this, but I'm just showing you what it looks like if you slide in midair. Your gun is going to dip just like that, just going to dip a little bit, so you know you've done it right. So you'll jump, slide, and as soon as you hit the ground, you'll jump again. So jump, slide, jump. And then you're going to repeat that over and over and over and over. And if you do it fast enough, the animation is very fluid and you'll never see the gun jump back up. So jump, slide, 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 jump, slide. Super simple. You want to do that in a straight line until you can just do it without losing any speed. As elevation changes, you'll have to jump sooner. As the ground will basically come at you a lot faster. So just be aware of elevation changes, and you're going to want to practice that until you can do it fluidly, just like this. Just jump, slide, jump, slide, jump, slide, jump, slide. I don't recommend starting like this, like on the ground. I recommend getting some momentum from a wall. It makes it a little bit easier to, get a feel for how fast you're going because you have more momentum when you jump off of a wall. Now, once you have just this straight line down, then we can go into turning, and the way we turn is by implementing air strafing, which is like the second fundamental or pillar of movement, whatever you want to call it. And air strafing looks like this, where I'm making these turns. If I want to go left, or if I want to go right, I'm combining air strafing with slide hopping in order to navigate my way around the entire map. And I'm doing this all the time. If I'm not in the air, I'm doing, little air strafing. The technique I'm using is called skiing. And how we do it is we're going to utilize air strafing in this game. And air strafing is just, you're moving your character on the ground. This is just strafing. You ever heard of AD strafing, back and forth while you're shooting? You can do it in the air. And you'll kind of drift off to the side if you're air strafing in the air. You'll see, give me an example real quick. I'm looking at this rock. If I look right in the middle, I'm not going to move my camera at all, which is my right stick. Let me line that up again. I'm just going to air strafe in the air with my left stick. I'm going to hold it to the left, and I'm probably going to end up at the edge of the rock by the time I come on the ground. Yep, and I'm back on the edge of the rock. Haven't moved my camera at all. I just moved my left stick. So it's important to note that while we are air strafing, you want to be holding 100% left or 100% right on the input level for that left stick, depending on the direction you want to go. So if I want to turn left, let's just slide hop up here. If I want to turn left, I'm going to hold 100% left on my left stick. And then I can just kind of go back straight, guide it a little bit. I'm turning left again, 100% left on that left stick. 100% left because I want to turn left. I'm coming up here, I'm going to turn right, 100% right on that left stick. Same thing goes for when you're bouncing from wall to wall. You can make these turns in between wall jumps. And the way you do that is by holding that 100% input on that left stick. So if I want to go left, just to reiterate, I'm going to hold 100% left. If I want to go right, 100% right. Now, this doesn't really work if you're not guiding it with your camera. What you want to do with your camera, it's pretty much the opposite. You want to do very, very slight inputs based on where you're going. So if I wanted to go left, I'm going to be 100% left on my left stick, but my right stick, and pay attention to the controller cam, my right stick, which is my camera stick, is going to be only 5 to 10% on that input ratio. It's 100% to 5% ratio as far as left to right stick inputs go. So if I want to turn left, very gradual turning with my right stick, which is my camera, and very extreme turning with my left stick, which is my player movement or air strafing. So once you combine that, then you can start making one turn at a time. I suggest, whatever you're comfortable with, whatever is easiest. Like I'd start doing a right turn. I'll make a right turn over and over and over until I get that right turn. And then I'll find a left turn and I'll make that left turn over and over and over until I get comfortable there. And then once I can do one or the other, then I want to try and get them both together. So there's a left turn and then I'm going to try and make a right turn. And you want to be air strafing the entire time. So you'll have to go back to neutral because if you're going from left to right, you want to make sure there's constantly an input, whether you have to go diagonal on that stick or straight forward for just a second. But first-person shooters have done a terrible job of making sure everybody knows that holding forward is the way to go forward. In Titanfall 2, that's not exactly false, but that's not helpful information. You're not going to gain any speed. The way Titanfall 2's source engine works is the game is going to reward you with small amounts of speed for subtle movements. And that subtle movement is that dramatic stick, that dramatic left stick, and that subtle right stick camera ratio with that air strafing to help you go faster. You're going to be gaining small amounts of speed the entire time that you're doing this. Now, as I go through the map, I'm not just going to slide hop. I'm going to take advantage of all the really high walls because the fastest speed yield from any movement mechanic in this game that's not, a tactical or a grenade or boosting or anything like that is wall kicking. Wall kicking is different than wall running, and I'm going to explain why. If you've ever been in the Gauntlet or you have, a modded version of the PC game and you have a speedometer, you'll notice that just sprinting on the ground is a lot slower than running on a wall. And then you get another boost as soon as you jump off that wall. So I think it's 32 kilometers an hour while you're running on the wall, and then it jumps up to like 41 when you jump off the wall. Like that's a big speed difference. So we take advantage of this. There's obviously a boost when you jump off the wall. That boost gets even greater the less time you spend on the wall. So this is what wall kicking is as opposed to wall running. Wall kicking is kicking off of the wall as soon as you touch it, like that. As soon as you touch the wall, you want to spend the least amount of time as possible on that wall with the least amount of friction so that you can gain the most amount of speed from the wall. There's a couple of different methods on how to do this, and so I'm going to go over those. The number one method on how to practice it, though, just reaction time. Go into the Gauntlet, go into a private match, get on these walls, jump off of them as soon as possible. Get some 45-degree angle walls like this. So we have a 180 degree here, we have a 45 degree, and it goes back into 180. So that's 1, 2, 3 potential wall kicks I can hit all in a row. I'm going to get a little bit of speed by stimming up to the wall. So give me a second here. I'm going to stim and jump off right before this 45, hit it, kick off every single time. And I messed up that last one, but that's okay. Every single time I'm going to be gaining speed off of that. So it's just reaction time. The least amount of time you can spend on the wall, the better. The more speed you're going to get when you release from it. Now, there are a couple of ways to manipulate the amount of speed that you're going to get from a wall, and I'll go over those right now. As you can see, I'm going super fast right now. Well, I was until I hit a weird angle. The two methods for making this a little bit easier are going to be parallel and diagonal wall kicking. We're going to focus on parallel first because that's the best one. Parallel wall kicking is essentially lining up your character's angle in the air. The scenario that this is in is that you're in the air, but for like learning purposes, I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to be on the ground for you. So you want to line up your character, your player's angle to the angle in the direction that the wall is facing. So this wall and most walls that you hit are going to be a 180 degree, a flat line all the way across. Very easy to match that up because all we have to do is come in and look at it like this. And that's the angle I want to be hitting these walls from. To give you an example, I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to line myself up with every single wall. I'll stem here, and I'll strafe out to the left to line myself up with this wall that's on my right. So how we do this is by using air strafing, like I just said. If a wall is on your right, you're going to be strafing out a little bit to the left, depending on the angle that you are coming in order to line yourself up parallel to the angle of the wall. So what this is going to look like is, let's say I'm coming in at this little 45 degree, not too sharp of an angle. This is a 45 degree angle I'm looking at this wall from where I'm standing to where the wall is, or to where I'm pointing on the wall. If I'm coming in at this angle, as I'm getting closer to the wall, I'm going to strafe out to the left a little bit. My momentum's going to carry me into the wall no matter what. But I'm going to strafe out to the left a little bit until I am lined up with this angle. I'm looking at this wall's 180 degree angle going this way. And this is so that there is the least amount of friction possible when I jump off of the wall. So to give you an example, as I'm coming over here, I'm going to strafe out to the left a little bit, and now that I'm lined up with the wall, I'm comfortable with hitting it. Same thing here. Now that I'm lined up with the wall, I'm perfectly fine with hitting it because I know I'm going to get the most speed possible out of it. These walls on the left, these walls on the right, I'm going to strafe out to the left before I touch them so that I am lined up as parallel to the wall as possible. So I hope I explained that well. I've tried to explain things like this on my Twitch stream and it doesn't always work out. So make sure that when you're coming into a wall and you're practicing wall kicks, this is the best way to get the most speed out of your wall kicks, is lining it up parallel. And you do that by air strafing, which remember with your left stick is 100% left on the left stick, and then 5 to 10% to the left or right on the camera stick. So it's a very intense ratio, and you need to practice it and get it down, which is why I've always recommended private matches in the gauntlet and stuff like that. And the other method to kind of help you learn wall kicking is the diagonal wall kick. And the diagonal wall kick doesn't serve to gain you any speed. The point is to reduce the amount of speed lost when you're coming into a wall at a really shallow angle. Let's say I had stim, or I got tapped by a grenade and got boosted, and I have a bunch of speed. And I'm coming at this wall and I want to hit a wall kick off of it, and that's fine, you can do that, but you're obviously going to lose speed because that angle is just so shallow. So what we're going to do is we're going to line ourselves up diagonal, and we're going to mirror the angle that we hit the wall at as we're coming out of it. So what it's going to look like is, like I said, this is a 45 degree angle. So I'm coming at this wall, I'm going way too fast. In the real scenario, we're in the air, remember. Going way too fast, can't strafe out of it, can't get parallel like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the wall, and as I hit the wall, I'm going to mirror the angle that I came in at and strafe out in the opposite direction. So I'm on the right side here. As soon as I come out, I'm going to mirror that angle and strafe out to the left. So if I'm right here, I should land right about there, or kind of like where that little white patch is right there, because that's the angle. Oops, I double jumped before, because that's the angle that would mirror the angle that I'm at right now. Perfect, right where I said I would be. So the point of this is to reduce the amount of speed lost. So let's give you a good example of this. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to stim, I'm going to get a lot of speed. No way I'm going to be able to turn out of it. This is probably good. I want to mirror the angle that I hit it at, so that when I'm coming out of the wall, I'm not going as fast as I was, but I definitely reduced the amount of speed that I would have lost if I just slammed into that wall with no grace at all. With walls like this, you can almost always line it up parallel, but if you're going too fast, you want to make sure that you mirror the angle that you hit it at and come out at the opposite angle. Hope that one makes sense as well. Wall kicking is difficult and it takes a long time, and there's a reason it's the hardest. It's because it's the best thing you can do for your movement. Wall kicking is by far the hardest thing you can do in just like the fundamental areas of movement, and for good reason. And it's worth the practice. I promise it is. So come into a private match, go into the gauntlet, improve your time in the gauntlet, or even do the campaign. Speedrun the campaign just for fun. You're not going to beat the world record, but you're definitely going to do some things that you didn't think you could do if you just practice on different terrains and different scenarios. And once that muscle memory is kind of locked down, you take it into online. Now, a couple more things I want to go over, because I don't want to make this video too long. I know it's going to be long, but we're going to do a couple of do's and don'ts really quickly, and then we're going to do some slightly advanced things. So the first thing that I do want you to focus on while you're moving around is, while we'd love to be air strafing the entire time, there is one scenario in which you should not be air strafing, and that is when you're double jumping. The way double jumping works is it takes the direction that your momentum is going. In this case, it's where your left stick is pointing, and it's going to shoot you in that direction. So if you're holding left, it's going to shoot you to the left. Now the problem with that is, while you're air strafing around the map, you've been building momentum in a certain direction. And if you tell your character to double jump in a different direction, you're going to lose speed. Kind of like this. I'm going to jump off to the right here. I'm going to hold right on my right stick. Oh man, it's hard to make a mistake on purpose. I'm going to hold my left stick now. And I kind of flew off to the left, and you didn't notice huge speed gain or speed loss, but there is a speed loss there. So what you want to do while you're double jumping if you have enough momentum and you don't want to lose any momentum, what you want to do while you're double jumping is let your stick go neutral or hold forward. What I mean by neutral is just don't have any inputs on that left stick while you're double jumping. Or you can hold forward, because what it's going to do, what that does is it defaults to the direction your momentum is already carrying you. So that it doesn't take away any speed. It's just going to double jump you in the direction your character is already flying. So that's what we want to do while we're double jumping, is either let your stick go neutral or hold forward just less than half a second. I mean, it's a tiny amount of time, especially once you're already going really fast. You have stem speed or grapple speed or something like that. So that's the first thing. The other one with double jumping is going to be kind of the same premise. It's losing or gaining speed, and that is double jump altitude. You never really want to double jump while your character is losing altitude. You want to double jump while your character is neutral, is like right in between losing and gaining altitude. So kind of mid-flight. Or you want to double jump as your character is still going up, gaining altitude. While your character is going or losing altitude, you are going to lose small amounts of speed. And I know I've been saying small amounts of speed, gaining or losing small amounts of speed. Well, if you remember earlier in the video, I said Titanfall 2's Source Engine rewards subtlety. It also punishes subtlety in the wrong direction. So if you're making a bunch of tiny mistakes and losing a tiny amount of momentum every single time you're making the mistake, eventually you're just going to be going really slow. And the exact opposite happens when you're doing things right. If you make a bunch of tiny correct movements and chain them together, each one doesn't get you an insane amount of speed, but if you build them all up, like I'm not using stem right now, I'm not using grab boost, I'm not grappling, I'm going very fast. I'm going much faster than your average player. That's because I'm making a bunch of tiny good decisions with my movement, and I'm rewarded for that. And the same thing happens when you make mistakes. So making sure that these tiny things are on lock is very important. A couple other things that I just want to go over really quickly with you. Stimming and grappling, grab boosting and stim ejecting and all this stuff. All these things apply. The mechanics don't change. You're just going faster. Same with ziplining right here. You can apply all of these to any momentum gain that you get in the game. It's just a little bit more intense with things like stim or with grapple or with hitting a zip line and getting the bonus off, or getting the speed bonus off of that, or stim ejecting or whatever. Just make sure you have the muscle memory down before you start doing really advanced stuff like grab boosting, which I'll do in a separate episode. You don't want to have just learned slide hopping and then you start grab boosting. You're just going to lose all that speed and you're going to waste your time. You need to make sure you know air strafing, you need to make sure you know wall kicking, so that not only can you maintain that speed, but you can gain more speed after you've already done it. You want to be able to build on these things, and you're not going to be able to unless you get the fundamentals down first. So please, I've said this twice already, go into a private match, go into the gauntlet, do the campaign, learn these things. One last thing that I recommend while practicing your movement, do what I do and practice routes on certain maps. Go through every single map. If you're an online player and you want to play PvP and you want to play attrition and all that stuff, a really good way to get your movement down is if you practice routes. I have routes that I do every single game. If you watch my Twitch streams, there's a route that I do every single game. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's rehearsed and I can do it well every time. And the fact that I can do it well every time gives me an advantage. It's muscle memory, just like I was talking about earlier. So if you guys want to see me do things like this live, I stream on Twitch almost every single day. Monday, Wednesday, Sunday, I'm pretty sure is my schedule. But that may be subject to change. If you have any questions about movement, there is so much to still talk about in the movement system in this game, and I will be making future videos. But if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I reply to all my comments. And of course, you're welcome to come hang out with me on Twitch. That is it for now. More videos about, more advanced things and movement are going to come in the future. So if you did like the video, please drop a follow, subscribe to the channel. I'm used to talking about Twitch stuff. Yeah, you guys have a great day, and I will see you later.